I see myself right now. There we go. We are here. We are here. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy OT, and we back. We are back with another one. And when I say another one, I mean another one. Let me tell y'all something, right? So today is you know, Black History Month. Black History Month is going on all this month. So make sure y'all check out the OTRadioshow.com. Make sure y'all hit us up because we are going to be celebrating Black History Month all this month. And we are bringing some good people on this show. And when I say good people, I mean some very good people. Today I'm going to have Arthur Troy. It's going to be joining your boy Bishop ED. Going to be joining your boy here on the show. And about our producer says she's already in, so y'all already know. Me and her get down since last year. And when I tell y'all she's back with another one, as my man DJ Collie said, another one, she's back with another one. With a good book. Life does have to be perfect to be wonderful. She's giving you the survival guide on how to thrive after divorce. You know, divorce is a high rate right now to what's going on, especially during this pandemic. A lot of people is not used to people being around. So she's going to give us the guide about it. And I can't wait. I can't wait. Our producer said they want to bring her in. So, Miss Lady, bring her in. Yeah, I think she's coming in right now. And she is here. Let's see. Yes, there she go. Happy New Year to you. How you
Happy
feel?
New Year.
How you feeling?
I'm wonderful. How you feeling?
Oh man, I am great. I am great. Glad to see you
Good.
again. Glad to see you again. You know, cause our first show was the bomb. You know, our
Yes.
first show was the bomb. You know, you came on and you dropped it. I think yours is the highest on YouTube on my channel right now.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's dive into it for all my peoples that do not know you. Can you tell our listeners, our viewers, and people that are watching a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Troya. I'm originally from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Roll Tide. And I always got to say that.
You
Um,
always gotta say that.
always. I love my school. I love my team. Um, but I went to Howard University and my master's from Tennessee State and doctorate too. But my real experience is just in life. I'm a lifelong learner. I love to learn and I love to teach. I'm a teacher by trade. That's my profession. I teach high school students, and in my other business, I teach young adults 18 to 35. So I'm a teacher and I love it. And I'm here to serve. So I hope people have questions and get some good information.
All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into your book. Life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. The A Survivor Guide on How to Thrive After Divorce. Now, when I started reading it, because man oh man, I started reading it and I'm already on I'm gonna tell you I'm on page 66. Right?
Okay.
I'm on page 66 right now. And I was reading it, and there's a couple of things that we need to talk about on here. Because I don't want to give everybody the detail. We need them to go get the book. First of all,
Okay.
we need them to go get the book. But let's talk about on the first page, page 3.
Okay.
Trust yourself. Now,
Yes.
thriving through divorce is something crazy. You know, I've been through divorce. I know millions of people have been through divorce, and trusting yourself because it seems like you always blaming yourself that something happened, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I could have did this, I could have did that. Let's tell our listeners how to trust yourself through divorce.
Well, before I say anything, I can't see you anymore. Where did you go?
Oh, listen, because the camera is on you now. The camera
Oh,
is on you. It is all you. So we got to focus on
okay.
you right now.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, well, you got to trust yourself and just know that whatever decision you make is the right decision. And in terms of if you're going to stay or leave or, I typically don't tell people to stay or leave. That's not my lane. But I just want to make sure
Mhm.
that people feel confident in their decision and not second guess themselves. And I am a believer, and so I wrote it, and I write things from the lens of understanding that whatever you do, whatever decision you make, God got you. God will take care
Mm.
of you, and even if you or somebody else, you or somebody else may consider it a mistake, everything happens for your good. Now, everything that happens doesn't feel good, but it really is for your good. And I encourage people to become a pronoid instead of a paranoid. Become pronoid and just know that everything that's happening and everybody around you is pushing you toward where you need to be, instead of being paranoid and thinking everything bad is happening to me and everybody's against me. Don't think that way. Just allow yourself to trust yourself. You will be fine.
I'm glad you said that because when you are going through a divorce, it seems that way,
Yeah.
right? It seems that way that when you have our, you got friends and you got outsiders that are looking in but don't really know what's going on, but they
Right.
quick to judge. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's one of the biggest things that I could say when it comes down to divorce, that you do got to trust yourself and trust your judgment. Now,
Yeah.
there's one thing that I can tell you that I did not handle very well, and it's
Okay.
handle your emotions with care. You know,
Yes.
when you got kids that are involved, emotions get serious.
Yeah.
And I ain't get locked up or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But it was just the emotional roller coaster of kids, and especially when you got girls, that things happen.
Yeah.
So can we talk about that a little bit? Can you tell our listeners how
Absolutely.
and our viewers how to handle your emotions with care?
Well, first I'll say just be willing to allow yourself to experience every emotion that you experience. And if you're angry, allow yourself to be angry. If you're sad, allow yourself to be sad. It doesn't mean that you have to act out in that emotion, but just give yourself a chance to stop, to think, and to accept that that's where you are. And I encourage people to write it down, and just say, hey, I'm feeling angry today, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling happy, or just whatever you're feeling. Allow yourself to be that, and just to be careful to not allow yourself to sink too deeply into the more negative emotions of anger and resentment, because it can take you down a deep dark path that is not healthy for you to go down, in terms of your own mental health, and especially when you do have children. So of course, it's just like in every book that I've written, I always encourage people to find a therapist that's near you and go and sit down and talk to somebody that that can really help you to work through that and navigate it. And I do tell my own story in the book. I did I accidentally ended up in therapy thinking that I was getting something for free. I love some free, but love some free. Can't say no. But I was thinking that I was getting a free mentor, but it ended up that the
Hmm.
person was actually a therapist, which is absolutely what I needed. Didn't know it. And the other thing that I didn't know that I do want to share with, because different people have different personalities, and
Hmm.
somebody with a personality like mine, I'm typically a happy-go-lucky person. I've always been that
Uh-huh.
way, even going through
Hmm.
divorce. But when I really sat down with a therapist and we talked through some things that I was doing and experiencing, I learned that I was angry. I didn't understand that
Hmm.
I was. And so, and he was this old Japanese guy, remind you of Mr. Miyagi. And he was like, "Oh, you got anger deep down, you got anger." And I was like, "For
Uh-huh.
real?" But to
Uh-huh.
have somebody on the outside to help me navigate through that really helped me to get to a healthy place, I think, a lot more quickly than if I had tried to do it by myself. And I think it helped me to be the very best version of myself for my daughter. My daughter was 5 at the time that our divorce process started, and
Hmm.
she's 18 now, graduating in the top of her class, heading to Grambling University, and or somewhere. I don't know where she's going, but she has a lot of scholarship offers. So I'm really
Uh-huh.
happy about that. And she's a good kid and a happy kid. So I think we did good. but definitely
Yeah.
be intentional with how you handle your emotions.
Yes, yes, because emotions are something serious, right?
Yeah.
When you're dealing with emotions, it's all over the place. And then when you allow people to get in between those emotions or either say anything in those emotions, it gets a little bit deeper. It gets a little bit deeper. But I'm glad that you said, you recommend people to actually go through counseling because they need to.
Yes, definitely.
They need
They
to.
you need to. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard.
yeah, definitely. Now, in the book, you talk about vacations.
Yes.
I would say you definitely need a vacation. Matter of fact, I need my producer to make sure that I am in this one right here. So, producers, bring me in. Yes, let's talk about vacations during divorce. You need it. I don't care
You
what
need it.
nobody says. You
Yeah.
need it. Can you tell our listeners, our viewers, and people that's going to be watching the replay, why should they take a vacation during
Um,
the
the most important thing that you need to do is to make sure that you don't lose yourself in the process of divorce, because a lot of people lose their self in the process of marriage. So allow yourself, as you're healing and acknowledging your feelings and making sure that you're walking in forgiveness, which is something that I also really stress and emphasize that people try to do. It's important that you give yourself some time to really reflect and be alone. And a lot of times you don't have a chance to do that, especially with reflection. And
yes,
going on vacation and really being by yourself alone, whether it's by the beach, which is one of my favorite places to go, and just listen to the sound of the waves, listening to the wind, feeling the sun on your skin. That's a good chance to really be still and to be quiet and to hear God speak and allow your own self to speak to yourself. Because one thing that happens a lot of times, and you probably can attest to this for yourself as well, when you've seen people go through, whether it's just a breakup or a divorce or whatever, and you ask what happened, most people say he was crazy or she was crazy, or just, that's typically what it boils down to. That's what people say, but that's not really necessarily, well, I mean, it could be true, but
yeah.
if he was crazy and she was crazy, you was with him. And so you need to examine why you stayed with crazy for 12 years. Why did you date crazy? Why did you marry crazy? Why did you have sex with crazy? Why did you have a baby with crazy? That's what you need to sit down on vacation and write. You need to think about that thing. Because your mama might love you, but she may not, be able to tell you that. I don't know you, so I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's just where it's at. And you need to sit down and have that conversation with yourself. Because that's real. And it's the only way to grow and heal and move forward.
Oh man, I am like right now. This is the most honest conversation to have, people. The very most honest conversation, because you know what? I don't think no one would tell a person like, "Hey, hold up, wait a minute, he crazy? You crazy? Let's break this down." So that
Yeah.
wow, wow.
You got to be honest with yourself.
Yes, yes, you do. You definitely got to be honest through the whole situation. Like, if you at fault at it, take the responsibility. That's why I say go to
Yeah,
counseling. Go to counseling. Go to
absolutely.
counseling because but with our people, they think counseling is wrong sometimes,
Yeah.
right? It's so hard to go to counseling, and I tell people a lot. It's very important because they are not the judges. They're going to listen to you, and then once you air it out, then they're going to say, okay, all right, well, you probably could have did something this way. You probably could have did
Right.
something this way. And I'm glad that through your book, because through your book, you do say go to counseling. I could contest to that. You do say, definitely go to counseling. Go to counseling, please, y'all. Go to
Yeah.
counseling. So, through your experience through this, right, and you writing this book, how was your emotions? What was your emotions going through writing this book?
Emotion. Oh, writing the book.
Yeah,
It was really interesting because some stuff, when I actually sat down in my writing process, I kind of do an outline, and know the
Hmm.
names. And how I did this particular book was I spelled out thriving in the the table of contents, because
Hmm.
I like to start with the end in mind, and I want people to be able to not just survive a divorce but to thrive afterward and say, oh man, I'm living my best life now and I feel great. And so keep with, keeping that in mind, I still wanted to be really honest. And so as I wrote the book, just going through the different chapters, I did experience a lot of different emotions. But I wasn't sad. I was really it was kind of, I felt a little bit relieved, because I think some
Hmm.
things I didn't share with friends and family, I had an opportunity to share through the book, especially with my dad. He's so sweet. And even though he's my biggest fan, he can also be my biggest critic. And so
Hmm.
I had a chance to write, and my dad also too is a psychotherapist by trade. Let me just share that as well. But um,
Wow.
having the chance for him to read it, and kind of going back and forth with him too, just in the process, it was fun. And some stuff I even talked to my ex-husband about, and was like, well, what do you think about this, what do you think about that? And I'm, kind of, because I still want to respect him in the process. This is me and my book, and not his. And so, and I wanted to always be as respectful as possible when I'm writing about him and speaking about him and referring to him, because I don't want to tell his story. I just only want to
Hmm.
tell mine. So just going through the emotions of just being mindful and just thinking, how can I make sure, like I encourage other people to do in one of the chapters, how can I make sure that I narrate my story with intention? And I'm intentional. And I always teach people, be the hero in your own story, be the shero. You don't have to tell your story and be a victim. You don't have to tell your story and be pitiful. So keeping what I'm trying to teach in mind really helped me to tell this story and to share and help other people grow in a powerful way and not a pitiful way.
Mm, I
Hope
love it.
that makes
And
sense.
yeah, and anybody want to know what she's talking about? That's page 44. So best believe go get the book, identify the areas to be, narrate your story with intention. So that's page 44. Nope, page 48. I'm sorry, that's page 48. So, listen, we got the book here. Y'all better go get it. Y'all better go get it. But it's
Thank you.
one thing that I can say in the book that I think people really need to hear this. Give yourself time to heal. So many times we go through a divorce and we jump right back into a relationship and we haven't even healed through the situation. And you talked about that in the book. Let's go into some details about that. Why
Okay.
is that important? Give
Well, it's just,
yourself time to heal.
yeah, it's just like with anything else. If you fall and break your leg and it has to be stitched back together, it has to heal. And your emotions are the same, your heart is the same. It needs time and it needs space to heal. Now, I do understand that a lot of times people date before they're divorced, and sometimes mentally and emotionally they have already left that relationship. And it's different, and things can vary. But I do still think that you need to honor yourself, honor the relationship enough to allow it to breathe, and really die and grieve the relationship, because the relationship, that marriage, is a being in itself. And so, go ahead and let it die. Go ahead and grieve it, and then as you heal, move on. But you want to honor yourself enough to do that.
But it's so hard. And I'm going to say, a lot of people, it's hard for them to do it. We can say it. We can say, hey, give yourself some time to heal. But a
Yeah,
person, you know what I mean? Like for me, it took me about 2 years to heal because, it was, yeah, like we gotta sit down and talk about this. But it took about 2 years. And that's before I even got into a relationship with the one that
okay.
I'm in with now. But yeah, but it's you have to take time. And I don't think people really understand that because when you've been married for so long or you've been married, regardless of how long you was married, uh, you used to be the wife or the husband, right? Now you got to translate into being single. You used to be, you know what I mean, the wife, the mother. Now you got to translate on being part-time parents, right? It's
Yeah,
hard. It's hard,
it's very
especially when you
hard.
got kids. Especially when you got kids. And I
Hmm.
think that right there. um, is something that needs to be talked about because people don't really give themselves time to heal. Honestly, I'm just being
Yeah.
honest.
And really because you and then too you used to having hips, lips, and fingertips in your bed, and then they ain't there no more. That's hard. But you definitely got to give yourself some time and some space to heal and to grow. Now, what I do, because I do teach high school students, and I wish I would have brought my illustration. But what I do is I have a orange piece of paper and a blue piece of
Hmm.
paper, or let's just
Hmm.
imagine in your mind pink and blue.
Hmm.
And when those two are together, when you put them together with glue, they're stuck
Hmm.
together, and it's pink on one side, blue on the other side. But when you pull them apart, now you actually have holes in that paper because it rips. And so
Hmm.
you literally need time to heal, to regroup. And I have so many male students who will come to the class who will say, can I talk to you afterwards? I got a couple questions. And I'll say, yeah, sure. And they'll ask, well, what about the bodily function parts? And I immediately know what they're talking about, because what happens a lot of times, especially with men, is that sexually you cannot perform. And it's not
Hmm.
because you're not attracted to the new person that you're with, or that you even still want the other person. You literally, physiologically, are going through something, a divorce, and your body and your mind and your heart are really, they really are separating from that person, and it's hard for your body to function. A lot of people go through it, like it really is a thing. It's a phenomenon that's real. But because of course you don't experience divorce all the time, a lot of men don't think that that's normal, it's natural, but it really is. And so
Hmm.
we, in the divorce care classes and some of the other classes that we teach that correspond with the book, um, we let people know that it happens. And so you really, really, really got to give yourself some time. How much time, of course, is going to be different with everybody, depending on what your relationship was like, what your marriage was like. But you still need a little time.
Hey, I agree with you. I agree with you. Now let's talk a little bit because with your first book, a lot of people, let me tell y'all something about the first book though. We're gonna have to go to the first book for a minute. I gotta go to the first book
Okay,
for a minute.
that's cool.
You know, I so the answer to intimacy. Now she didn't broke it down uh a year ago when we talked about your first book, right? You broke everything down, and I think what you just said makes a whole lot of sense because when you are going through a situation, like you said, men don't perform, and these are the things that happen. I read something about that in your first book
But
about
it's
the
true.
mind.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm just I'm just all like, wow, you know, it's starting to come together with your two books. Now I know you got some other books that you about to start writing because I know this ain't it. I know you got some things up your sleeve that you're about to bring to our listeners soon.
Absolutely.
So, and I hope I'll be the first one to get it. You know,
And you know this.
but during that time, so we're gonna go back. We're gonna transition back to your book that you have right
Okay.
now, the Survival Guide: How to Thrive After Divorce. What can you tell our listeners and our viewers and people that's going to be watching it and listening to it on MP3? How did you survive through all this and become the woman that you are now to have this story?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I actually followed these steps. I literally did all of this stuff in the book, so I'm really not telling you to do anything that I didn't do, or sharing anything that wasn't a real part of my process. So in each part of the book, I'm actually sharing personal stuff because I want people to know that as hard as it is, I went through it, I survived it, and I feel like I am thriving. I came out on the other end well, and I'm healthy and happy, and my child is too. And that's what I feel like is success. Not money or anything else, but how well I am mentally, and how well I'm able to manage and maintain relationships with family members and friends and coworkers and other people that I serve in different areas. Um, but yeah, this that stuff was definitely a part of my journey, and it's hard, but is necessary. And hey Pat, but I have a lot of good friends like Pat. He supported me in my journey, and so many other people. But yeah, I went through a lot of emotions. But and actually, I was just reminded that the end of January made 13 years for me as divorced. So, and we were together
Wow.
for 12. People were like, "How old were y'all when y'all got married?"
Right, right. I was about to ask that question.
We were young. We were young, but we were together for 12 years, and now we've been divorced for 13. And my daughter
Mhm,
also turned 18 a few weeks ago. So I was able to post and share on social media. Her dad and we went to see Spider Man with her. That's what she wanted to do. And had
mhm,
some of her friends over and, just kind of hanging out. But if you allow yourself to heal and you choose to make sure that um, you don't allow the other person to be your enemy, no matter what
mhm,
they do, you have to remind yourself that is not my enemy.
mhm.
Um, and then just go from there. I forgot what your original question was. I just started talking.
Listen. This is what we do. Now, don't act like this ain't what we do, because this is what we do right here. You know what I mean?
And
But
you know what else I'm looking at? I'm like, does he have a filter? I have never until today in my life looked and seen myself and thought that I looked like my mama. But I'm like, goodness gracious, I look like Rosie. Oh my God, I look just like her. That's what you look like. I didn't click this thing. I'm like adjusting the light. Is this my mama? Is this me? What in the world is this? It's me. I look like Rosie. Hey girl, I'm at
hey, Mama Rosie, hey,
you.
hey. Well, listen, I am glad that you came on the show. First of all, I'm glad that we talk, because we do talk a little bit, off and on.
Thank you for
And I
having
am
me.
so glad that you brought this to us again, because like I said, you family. So once you hit that text message, like, hey, listen, I'm like, okay, all right, let's go. But you know, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much, because
Likewise.
you br- you bring a lot of insight, especially with this book right here. You bring a whole lot of insight, and I think people need to go get it. People need to read this book, especially if you are going through a divorce now. I would recommend this book to you, seriously. And I think
Thank you.
people need to go ahead and get this book, because it is a true survival guide on how to thrive. And we talking about at the divorce, so you can still go through it during the divorce, but she's breaking it down to y'all step by step. But I'm going to say this, ladies. Don't y'all go on vacation think you're getting Stella y'all groove back. Remember, that's a TV show. Okay, ladies, that's a TV show. You know what I mean? But, however, I can't say that you broke it down step by step, and I love it. I love it, and I appreciate you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Definitely. So go ahead and tell our viewers and listeners and everybody else where they can find you at, and on social media and everything else. The floor is yours.
I am at Troya Bishop. No, I'm not. I'm at Old Bad on Facebook and Instagram. See, I'm turning into my mom. I got her mind too, Jesus. And the answers to racism.com is where all of my stuff is. And again, I think that relationships and love, divorce, everything is connected to racism and how we relate or don't relate to each other because of how powerful or powerless we feel in relationships. And so all of my work can be found on theanswerstoracism.com. All of my work is related, even though it sounds like relationships, it sounds like racism stuff. It is all one and the same. So it's all there.
Mm. Well, you know what? I mean, since we on that topic, since you talked about racism, the racism that is going on now, and I'm going to talk about in schools, right? In Texas, how they are stopping the way they teach history.
Hmm.
I know you heard about that. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
If that ain't racism to the fullest, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it is. But just for context, what actually is happening is, I mean, it's good and it's bad. what's happening
Mhm.
is the children, grandchildren of a lot of people who originally made the racist laws in the beginning, they were starting to wake up and starting to realize that black people really do have a point, that reparations
Mm.
really are due, because on in a lot of cities are already giving reparations to black and African American people, depending on how you identify. And so a lot of
Mhm.
states are following suit. The federal government was about to do it. That's why Hillary didn't get in office. I don't care what nobody say. But if you went to her website while she was running, she actually had as a part of her platform reparations for black people. Now she wasn't calling it that. She was calling it
Mhm.
direct investment into the African American community. But we were calling it
Mhm.
reparations. It's the same thing. But so a lot of white people were saying, not just white people, racists were saying they didn't understand why their children and why their neighbors and friends were supporting it, who were also white. So
Mhm.
because it was getting so much traction and so much movement, and people were actually being taught the real history. And the
Mhm.
framework of the real history is the critical race theory, just saying basically because you brought black people over here and mistreated them and they built the country, so you owe them. So that's
Mhm.
basically what it is. And so now that so many different white people in different spaces are having those conversations because they're being forced to by their children, grandchildren, and friends, the racists who are in power saying, we don't want this to happen. We want to make this conversation stop. We don't want our great grandchildren or whomever to continue to have this conversation because justice is coming for black folks and we don't want that to happen. So what
Mm.
they don't know, with they stupid self, is that when you ban anything, is that's the main thing that your children gonna run to. As soon as you tell them
Yup.
don't do something they want to do, I'm glad they
Yeah.
banning it. I hope they keep
Yeah.
saying banning it, because if critical race theory, everybody is looking at it now, and everybody, those
Mhm.
kids now that they don't want to read now, every book that they're banning, that's what they're trying to go read. They downloading them. They're popping up at number
Mhm.
one on everybody's reading list on Amazon. These people so stupid. It's over for them. They might as
Mhm.
well go ahead on and put their good church suit on now and lay on down and die, because it's over. You know, we ready for
Black
what's
History
ours.
Month, y'all. Black
I'm
History
just
Month. Here we go. There it is.
okay.
Black History Month.
So
Black History
that's
Month.
what it
Right
is.
there.
We want what's ours. We built this country, and they grandkids know it, and they gonna give us our money. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, welcome. Black History Month. Actually, it's every day, but happy Black History Month. We just gave you some history facts. Right there.
Right.
Boom. There it is. There it is. Well, hey, thank you again for joining me here on the show. I appreciate you so much. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So you gotta come back. You know you gotta come back. And I'm gonna reach out to a couple of more people too. For you can
Okay.
jump on to theirs too. So they can get a little thing. You know what I mean? Because
I would love
you need
that.
to be heard a little bit more. You need to be heard a lot more, not a little bit, a lot more. So let's go ahead and let's get this networking done. So yeah, yeah. So I will text you later. I will text you later.
All right, black man. I
Some
appreciate you.
people. All right, listen. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Much love to you all the time. You have been doing so good, so much, and you keep bringing these books out. Listen, we're gonna have a whole sit down class. Like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage. Well, hey, enjoy the
I'm
rest of your
ready.
night. Right?
You too.
Be good and
Bye, everybody.
roll tide. Hold up, I
Roll
gotta say this
Tide.
now. You cannot listen.
You
Listen, you
said it.
cannot listen. Roll tide. I was about to go roll tide now. You know, y'all get all the way over there and y'all let them Georgia boys beat y'all. Y'all
It
let
was
them
their turn
Georgia
to
boys
win.
beat them. See?
I'm letting them win. It was their turn to win. But you better believe Nick Saban is coming, and he ready for next season. So I
There
ain't
it
even
is,
mad.
y'all.
Bye, everybody.
See you later. Good show, y'all. Good show. Make sure y'all go ahead and check out her book. Make sure you go check her book out, yo. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. A survivor guide to how to thrive after divorce. Hey, this is your boy OT. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all go and follow me on all the social media platforms. OT Radio Show. Y'all seen it if you watch me on Facebook, if you watch me on YouTube. We are all the same. Make sure you like, follow, and share. And I got a special one for y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to have my girl Angie going to join your boy here on the show. And we're going to talk about some things, some big things. She got a lot of things going on, especially in Georgia. So we're going to be talking to her tomorrow at 3:15 Eastern Standard Time here on the OT Show. Listen, y'all, appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Y'all be good and always stay positive on everything that you do in life and with people. Peace out, y'all. Y'all be good. Enjoy the rest of y'all night. And thank you again for joining your boy OT. Peace.